I'm Chris McKean.
Oh, man, you guys scared me. That's a little Adam McGill thing. Oh, hi, I'm Andy Kiner.
We're all about cross-country racing, and normally it starts with 10 seconds.
But not in Iowa. In Iowa, it starts with hands-on helmets.
And knee on throttle.
You watch any of Adam McGill's?
Yes.
Deal?
Oh, hey there.
You scared me. I like those. He cracks me up.
Yes. So how have you been?
I've been good. I've been real good, Chris.
I mean, I've actually been good too.
Getting the place done?
Oh, yeah, a couple setbacks. We had a big one over the weekend, but we're getting there.
It's all how you deal with it, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
So, but all good.
Cool.
We're getting there. New place is coming along. It's one man, one day, as I tell my wife. So.
Did you watch any of the GNCC last weekend?
No, I didn't get to.
I didn't get to watch. I listened to some of it, but I didn't get to see the whole thing. Still trying to figure out what happened at the beginning. Don't know. There's a lot of drama going on there. Something sounded like they piled up in a couple places and Adam went around them or got knocked into a banner or something. And I don't know, at the end of it's like the end of the race or that night or the next night, I heard that Adam got docked maybe a position, and so did Hunter Hart. But so I'm not sure exactly what happened. Maybe somebody's got an explanation for us and what's going on.
Good.
So
yeah, maybe somebody that was there is tuning in and to let us know.
Well, a lot of Iowa guys and gals out there, so maybe somebody will let us know.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Otherwise, God, we haven't even talked. Normally we talk about every day, but I've gone kind of silent, trying to get done what I need to get done. And we really haven't seen each other for a couple weeks, right?
No, it's been nice.
That's where I was going with it here.
Gotcha.
I think we were at a wedding, so the last time, week and a half ago, right? So,
yep.
Congratulations, Rick and Piper, on their wedding.
Yeah, it's been kind of quiet. Just been putting in the work, so haven't had much going on. Trying to pay attention to. Had some guys go out, guys and gals, go out to the GNCC, and I followed a race down south, series down there. We had a bunch of people go down and race in it, so it's pretty cool seeing them go everywhere and represent. They all did pretty darn well, it looked like to me. So
good.
Getting a racing
nice
fix that way.
You always brag about our racers and how they can go up against other series and come out on top. So
yeah,
good to see that.
Did see Cole Brandt. You see that? Cole Brandt won another overall.
Right. I did see that. I ran into Travis this week at Home Depot. So
nice.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's what it's third or fourth.
I'm going to say third, if I remember right.
So last year, was it last year or 2 years ago, Jordan Berg won the first time. One of our series racers won the overall. And then here comes Brandt with a breakout year. And I can't remember. I think that was 2 years ago that Berg won. And then last year, I'm pretty sure that Brandt won one or two. And I think he's, would you say 3 or 4 this year?
Yeah.
He's got to be right there at the points championship, I think. So, Yep, a lot of racing going on. You kind of missed it.
It's a weekend off, right? And then we go next weekend is the big one, Ironman.
Yep.
I hear you're gonna potentially be there.
I'm hoping so. We have AMA meetings out in Ohio and hoping to get out of there and stop by the Ironman on the way back. So everything works out right. I was going to meet you there.
Yeah. Nope. I got 2 weeks. 2 weeks left in me, buddy, to get done when we have to get done.
Is it feasible?
Yeah, we had an issue. A setback. Basically had got a bathroom down to studs and floor joists, and pretty much this weekend got it rebuilt. Yeah, got some plumbing that needs to be taken care of on Saturday with the shower, and then I'm hoping by Monday be painting, putting the floor on Tuesday.
I give you credit, man. I don't know how you do all that. You heard me. That's second week in a row I've given you credit. So, but that's something I can't do. I don't have the patience for that, man. I wish I did.
Mm-hmm.
But give you props for doing it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, so season's over, Chris. And, we were talking this week about this, and it's one thing to get on here and for you and I just to yak about this stuff and have fun, discussing it and doing our recaps and talking about years in. But I think it's just cool to get some of our riders on here, and not necessarily just even all the riders. Could be parents, could be friends, family, that's had some stuff done. We invite you to let us know if you had something happen or just enjoyed a race, or heck, it might have been something bad that happened. It's all, we'll talk about anything on here. So, but if you got stories from different races, tonight's, supposed to be all about Trenton. So we invited a couple of them to come on. There's a lot of good stories. Maybe we'll go through a couple of them, after we get these guys. But biggest thing is just having fun with it, the races, and looking back and seeing the fun stuff that happened, and just stuff that meant something to people that maybe everybody don't know about, So we always talk about the racing and the results, but it's going to be a little different this time. So,
yeah. So we have a couple guests. We have Trent Roberts and Matt Forcer going to join us here. Go ahead and bring them on. Get the show started.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome, guys.
Hello. Hey there.
First of all, I want to thank you guys, because normally I have to sit back, as you guys see, and just listen to Chris yak the whole time. So it's going to be kind of nice having somebody else on here.
Believe it or not, I was saying the same thing before you joined tonight.
No, I don't believe it.
I have a couple witnesses.
So we actually didn't plan this, guys, but when we started talking about doing it this way and having some people come on and talk about theirs, we never really imagined that we would pick two that happened before the races even started. And, it's just kind of interesting to see this, but this is it's not just about the races, it's about the family, the camping, everything, and I hope I don't say this the wrong way, but I say it all the time. Chris has heard me, Chris and I used to go to some NASCAR races and stuff, and it was the same way there. We'd go to the races, but you know what? The smallest part of the race that we went to would be actually the race. We had more fun in the campgrounds and, and everything going on around it. And don't get me wrong, I love the races. The scoring could probably be better, but, the races are a lot of fun, but it's things that goes on, before and after that really make the weekend, I think, and the family traditions and, meeting new people and everything. So, but you guys take it to a new level, and we talk about before the season, before the race, or even before the season starts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Matt, why don't you tell us, because at least Trent got there before his story starts.
Yeah.
Matt, tell us a little bit. First of all, Matt, where are you from?
Hutchinson, Minnesota. So
Hutchinson,
that's for the Iowans. That's going to be about an hour and a half west of the Twin Cities in Minnesota here. So, and the closest race for us is Fort Dodge. It was about 3.5 hours. So this Trenton one was around 7 hours, I think, plus stops. So we were pushing almost 8 hours. So it was a trek.
I thought it took you longer than that to get there.
Well, there's a 2-hour delay in there for that one.
So all the way from Hutchinson, Minnesota. First of all, thank you for making that trip. We appreciate you coming down. I think you've always got a couple on your trailer, don't you?
Yeah, it's always me and my buddy Zach.
Yep. So
yeah, we hit all of them this year together. So
yeah, very cool. Well, so tell us a little bit. Obviously, we know we got a lot of driving going on there. Before we get into your season, just tell us how you kicked the season off with that first race.
So we had left pretty early. We had a lot of time because we had planned on walking the track when we got there. So I don't remember the exact times and everything, but we had plenty of time and drive was going pretty good. We had just crossed the border into Missouri and we stopped for gas and we switched drivers and I had driven, I think if I remember right, I think I had driven the whole way up till then and I was going to let Zach do the last half hour, 45 minutes or whatever. And 10 miles down the road, and he's like, oh, it's weird. The voltage dropped on the gauge. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he was like, oh, it's overheating. So they turned the key off, coasted down a hill, and it's like, okay, what's going on? So we popped the hood and see that the fan's all bent over, and it's like, oh, so the water pump's shot. And we were kind of brainstorming. It's like, okay, what are we going to do? It's like, well, let's just start tearing it apart. That's the first thing we got to do, and we'll brainstorm from there. So we started tearing it apart, and I think I had said to him, I said, why don't you call Andy? And so he had called you, I think after maybe we were working on it for a half hour or so. He called you, and I think you were going to call someone, and it wasn't but a minute later, someone pulled over to help us, and it happened to be Chris. And so what had happened is, I don't exactly know how to pronounce his last name. Giesing?
Oh, is it Austin?
No. Gasink.
Gason.
Oh, Gasing. Okay.
Yeah. Youth parents of youth racers. And so they pulled over, and Travis Troy had just gone by, and he had called Chris to let him know that we were there to pull over and see if we needed help, because I was thinking about possibly jumping on my four-wheeler and riding up to the parts store. It was about 10 miles or so to Bethany, Missouri. And so he offered a ride, which was kind of interesting because he had him and his wife and 3 kids in the back seats. There was nowhere for me to sit. And so I ended up sitting in their enclosed trailer on a mini quad to take the ride to town, which, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we got there and dropped the kids off, and then Travis hopped in the truck and we went to the parts store. And luckily, I mean, I'm pretty mechanical, so it wasn't anything that scared me doing a water pump, and so was Zach. So we weren't worried about figuring it out. But Travis was he's a full-time mechanic and a shop owner, so he was a big help too. It was like we just right there on the floor swapped the fan over and hopped back in the truck, and Zach had everything all cleaned up and ready to put back together. And yeah, if I remember right, I think it was about 2 hours kind of set us back. And I think right when we got back and started putting it together, that's when someone else had messaged me on Facebook seeing if we needed help. So it was kind of nice. I feel like the word I would like to use is camaraderie. And talk about the family aspect and stuff. It was really nice to see, people that don't know us or anything like that, and we're relatively new to the series, that to offer that help to us was great.
That's really cool.
I mean, it was a bad situation. It went as good as it possibly could have.
Yeah. No, that's
hopped on the road and got to the races.
Good.
Yeah, I don't think you could have asked for a better couple people under the situation to have stopped to help. That's
for sure.
When you said Chris, I thought Austin, but I was so scared that you were saying Chris McKean stopped. So I was like, oh my gosh, that ain't gonna do you no good, but that's really cool that them guys stopped though. And so we had the AXCC, a couple years back, a national series that we're putting on. And it was really cool because we met so many people from all over, and we had some breakdowns along the way. Not necessarily us, but other people. And I got that same phone call. And they're like, man, I'm at the Oklahoma border, such and such. Do you know anybody there? Well, it's pretty easy. If we can't remember, we can look in the database and find out, oh, yeah, Joe lives, 15 miles from you, and it just works out. It's like almost better than AAA. We got the race family script, all over. And I just love hearing stories like that. It's really cool. And for that to happen, obviously there's no good time, but before the season starts, and it allows you to meet new people, it's an odd way of doing it, but I'm sure you had some new friends throughout the year just because of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We talked a few times after that, as a familiar face to see at the races.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Very nice. So then overall, how'd your season go then, Matt?
I would say it went great. I ended up getting first overall in the utility class. I stayed consistent and kept it on four wheels. Got really lucky, didn't break anything. So I was really pleased.
So you went the whole season?
Huh?
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I got on the podium a couple of times, and just being consistent paid off.
Very nice. So you had more issues probably with the vehicle on the way to the races than you actually did your race machine this year.
Probably, in all reality. It's funny you say that, but it's actually probably true because I think it was the second or the third race, right when we pulled back into Hutchinson on the way home, the alternator went out. I think it was the third race. But luckily that one, we were 5 minutes from home, so it didn't matter.
Huh.
I think there was a joke made that it happened when Zach was driving again, so he couldn't allow him to drive.
Poor Zach. Dang. Well, cool. Well, that's a pretty cool story, but so Matt, at least you made it to the race, right? Or no, I'm sorry. You did not make it. At least Trent made it to the race before his story starts.
Yeah.
So Trent, tell us where you're from again.
I'm from Council Bluffs, Iowa.
Council Bluffs. So we got probably one of the furthest northern. We got 2 or 3 other, northerners that are a little bit north of you, but you're still got a long, one of the more northern guys. And I guess you're not one of our more western guys because you're western Iowa as far as you can get. We got one that comes clear from North Platte, Nebraska. So they're beating you on the driving. So I'll bet that don't bother you, does it?
No, it's there. I wish you can move them over a little to the west to be fine.
We're always looking over there. We cannot find timber to the west side to save our soul.
I raced a couple early on. I think you guys went to Brooks.
Brooks, that's still a 4-letter word. We don't bring that up.
Yeah,
we still have nightmares about that. We did that. We did Thurman, was probably closer to you.
Mm-hmm.
Thurman we did. That was a one and done, unfortunately. So, but yeah, we're always looking though. If you ever hear of anything, we're always can't promise, but we'd always look for sure. So,
yeah.
But so tell us a little bit. Your first race of the year, you get to Trenton. Start from there.
So I made the commitment. I made a trailer and was gonna camp out the night before for every race, and pulled in decent time, probably like 4 or 5 o'clock. got my dinner going, and then about, I don't know, 7 o'clock, decided I was going to go walk the track, and I'll just walk it for a little bit. Well, there's plenty of daylight. I'll just keep walking for a little bit more, and you get around that corner, you cross that creek, and I'm like, well, I've already crossed the creek. I'll just wait till another dry spot, and then I'll walk back. And it's like, man, there's still more daylight. Just keep on walking. Daylight evaporates really quick.
Especially that time of the year, huh?
Yeah.
What was that? Like a 7? I think that was 7 miles, 7.5. And kept walking, and next thing you know, it was pitch black, dark, no moon. Using the flashlight on my phone to keep on navigating, look for the next arrow. And it was probably 9:30 when I come walking back into the campsite, just walking across the field into the back of somebody's campsite, and they got a little surprise of somebody walking through the woods at them. So that was a joy. I was tuckered tired after that walk, and I slept really good that night.
So is that something you decided to do more often so you get a good night's sleep?
Yeah. No, I did a couple times. Not so late though. I made sure of that.
So tell us about walking the track. It used to be we got a ton of guys that would walk the track religiously. And honestly, I don't think we get as many walking the track as we used to. I think it's a huge benefit to be able to get out there and see some of them points, and maybe some of the danger spots, or maybe there's some corners that are a little tricky, or something. But what's your take on that? What do you get out of walking the track?
Well, I did it I walked a little bit in 24, but we did it backwards, or we did it reverse this year, and was just got a better take of it, better layout. I'd say I felt a little more comfortable after walking it because I recognized a couple of spots, I remember there was like a dual line downhill that you could go over this rock or this rock. And I'd already made up my mind, when you see this, go to the right. So that was a definite benefit.
Yeah. But do you feel more, even like on the start, knowing do you feel more comfortable just taking off, knowing that you know where you're going type thing? Like it's not a.
Yeah, for sure. It's not such a follow the leader. If you're behind somebody and you're just following and praying they go where they're supposed to go, you kind of have a little more layout of where you need to be, for sure.
And I hear guys all the time saying, I'd much rather be in second than I would in first, especially that first lap getting around. But I think if you've walked the track, you kind of have that little bit of confidence. If I get the shot at going to the front, I'm going to take it, type thing, But it's just, I got some people that just don't like walking the track. They feel like they overthink it, when I talk to them about it afterwards. And then some people just don't want to race without, walking the track. So once again, every race that we put on, it's funny because everybody says, well, I liked all 7. Well, that's fine, but we want every one of them to be different, so we don't want you to walk one and think, pretty much, okay, they're all going to kind of be the same. We want it, but we got to deal with what we get, like the hills and elevation change, the creek, stuff like that. But Trenton, for example, where you were out there in the middle of the dark, isn't the best place to be in the middle of the dark.
It had an eerie vibe to it, for sure, especially being out there in the country. And I was following my GPS, even just I had it pinned where the campsite was and was making sure I'm going in the right direction at least.
Yeah. Well, at least about the only light on the property is that one up there.
Yeah,
right where the center, the parking and stuff. So that's nice. But so tell us how your race went down there.
At Trenton, it went pretty good. I was all by myself. I think it was the Triggs. I kind of gave them the heads up, hey, by myself, if you wouldn't mind, just keep an eye on me. If you see me pull into pit or, something looks odd, just keep an eye on me. My trailer's unlocked, just my phone's in there. If something happens, kind of not making them my emergency contact by any way, but, just somebody to watch out. And he came over and stopped on me once when I stopped, and that was a total blessing because I was taking water and pulled off and grabbed a bottle of water, and he was came over and asked if everything was okay, and we both glanced at it at the exact same time, and my left rear wheel, I had lost torque on my lug nuts, and all four were only hanging on by like 2 threads, and I had totally the aluminum. I'd shredded out the aluminum almost fully. So he grabbed my impact real quick, and we suckered those things down real quick, and we're like, I guess it'll hold until it doesn't. So I think that was the next to last lap, and I had to stop 2 times and just by hand because I could feel it walking, and just by hand I'd run the threads down real quick and then take off again, and finish my last lap on a hope and a prayer that my lug nuts were going to stay on.
Yeah, because that's been known to be one of the rougher tracks.
For sure.
And I would say with Trenton, Trenton's one of those tracks. It's kind of like, I'm going to compare it to NASCAR for a second. NASCAR is different than any other sport where, like football, you have your Super Bowl at the end. NASCAR starts with the Daytona 500,
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at all of our tracks, it's funny because I'm saying it's probably one of the more easier tracks. It's fun, but like Murray, you don't have a lot of elevation change. But for us, it's just kind of completely backwards to where you would think maybe like a Murray track would be the first one to get going on, and instead we throw like the Daytona out there with one of the absolute roughest tracks that has everything in it, couple rock gardens, couple creeks, you got your twin hills that you were talking about. This year, if everything goes right, we should be going up them again, which is always a challenge, but yeah, we have so many guys that'll race that one, and at the end, they're like, man, this just ain't for me. I'm like, dude, just try another one.
Yeah.
Don't compare them all to this one, so. But how do you guys feel about Trenton compared to the rest of the tracks?
I enjoyed it. The rocks definitely add a little different aspect. I know I ended up putting 1 hole in a tire, and Zach, I think he ended up putting 5 patches on 1 tire. He had a lot of little holes.
Wow.
I say that race specifically, I was taking it pretty easy because that actually would have been my first 2-hour race, because the only other race I had done with you guys was last year at Fort Dodge, and we only did an hour and a half because of the mud.
Yeah. And
then the other 2 races I did were in Wisconsin, and they only do an hour and a half. And then I was using shocks on a rental. I didn't have any shocks because they were off at the builders, and so I rented a set of shocks from a buddy Sportsman. So non-reservoir, no adjustment, and I didn't want to break them. So I was taking it pretty easy. So I just had fun, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really dig it. The rock gardens and the creek beds.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of fun. Especially when you get to after the hour mark and you're getting beat up and banged up and hitting on that north end, I think was the big rock garden with the tree roots and stuff, and it was definitely gnarly. It was fun. It was an experience, especially on a sport quad.
Yeah, there's just things at that track. Well, I think there's other tracks that we see some of that stuff in, but just it's hard to get all of that in one track like there is, down there. So
it for sure takes the cake with rocks, I think. Which is fine with me. I mean, you lose a tire, it's just what it is, but it's fun. It's a different aspect of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. We always say that, cross country, I'm not knocking motocross or TT or any of that other kind of stuff, but we get to, I'll give examples. The Iowa State Fair race this year. Was either one of you guys there?
Yeah, I was there.
The State Fair. So, that's a classic example to me because we had guys want us to cancel that because of the rain, but all of our cross country guys, they're out of their realm racing that TT anyway, but boy, you talk about welcome in when that rain hit, you see a lot of guys doing circles, but you seen some of the guys in the cross country, they're out there wheeling like it was a Sunday cruise, and it's a lot of fun, but I just love it. Maybe I'm biased. I know I am, but I just think the cross country, and I give all my guys credit for building the tracks. Okay. But we're still blessed with a lot of terrain and landowners letting us come to places like that we can gather all those different, disciplines, the rock, the sand, and stuff like that, the hills and everything. And when they are like that, cross country, it doesn't make it what's there. You're taking whatever, it might be completely different than any other race, and that's what's perfect. But you've got to tackle whatever's thrown at you, no matter what it is. And I think it makes a better racer out of everybody, at the end of the year, it's just a completely different. How about you guys? When you started with Trenton, you end up with Murray, you have everything in between. Did you feel like your skill level had jumped, steps, I guess, or more comfortable anyway?
Yeah. You walked away, especially like starting at Trenton, you definitely walked away on a different knowledge level, experience level, as far as what you've ran through. Kind of made you feel like you could tackle any, the only thing left out was long straightaways, that we didn't really have down at Trenton. But I mean, other than that, it was you throw the whole gauntlet at us in one race. It was great.
And the only really, well, I guess there's a couple straightaways there, but the one that I can think of where you come up and over the top from one hill to another, that's got to be the roughest straightaway. It's like, you got to hold on, so every year we're laying that out. We come up there, I'm like, God, this is horrible, and I'm just laying it out. I'm not racing it, so, but no, I'm just curious because we see that with our kids all the time. And the same thing applies, I think, to a newer racer or somebody maybe that hasn't raced with us before. But our kids, Chris knows exactly, because he probably sees this actually more than any of us and I'm going to pick on the moms. The dads are the same way, but I'm just going to pick on the moms for a second. But a lot of them are up by scoring and stuff. And, man, they are nervous, biting their nails, everything, asking Chris, I haven't seen him yet. I haven't seen him. Well, they shouldn't be here yet. It hasn't been that long, but they're just nervous because they're new to it, and the kids are brand new. And then by the time they get, Chris, I could tell you better than I could, but every race it kind of goes where their nails keep getting longer and longer because they quit biting them, And by the end of the season, it's like they're almost talking to some friends and the kids, oh, there he goes, because they've gained confidence and knowing that their kid is that much better from the start of the year to the end of the year. So it's pretty cool, but we see the same thing with the adults too, so, and I think something that's real important to me, and I'm not trying to yak here all the time like Chris normally does, but something that's important to me, and I hope you guys are seeing this, is at the beginning of the year when I'm setting off, you guys will see me maybe taking some pictures or something, but I'll be sitting along the track watching you guys. In the first race of the year, I see guys pull over because they're tired or they got arm pump, But then we get like second, third race, it's more like, I don't want to let this guy by, But then towards the end of the season, it kind of clicks into you that, look, instead of trying to hold somebody up and I let them by because they're faster, now I can try to keep up with it and watch them and learn. And you see that kind of sportsmanship go up and up and up, and it's just kind of cool seeing how everything just kind of matures as the season goes on.
Yep.
But I think having the confidence, like Matt, if you're racing with Trent out there, even though you're different classes, that the confidence in knowing that I can put my bumper right up next to his and he's not going to brake check me, or he's not going to swerve over to block me, and stuff like that. I think that grows as the year goes on,
For sure.
So, do you guys see some of that at all?
Yeah. I don't know.
Huh?
I was always really big about letting people buy. I don't think I ever really came across too many like that. I mean, for me, it was a little tougher because I know, like with the sport quads, you can kind of pull in the clutch and rev bomb it, and immediately, oh, okay, there's someone back there. But with the utility, and mine only has the stock exhaust, so I'm like a whisper in the woods. I usually try and give them a shout, but a lot of times I'm so out of breath I can't really yell. It's like, oh.
Yep.
But I don't know. I didn't have too many problems with it.
How about you, Trent, on a sport quad?
No, I mean I've always been. I'm here for the experience and for the camaraderie and everything, and the level of people get pulling over to the side, seeing that you're not in the same class. It's a really nice feel especially when you're not with us using the colored backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can kind of just look over their shoulder, and you don't have to worry. You can kind of glance over and be like, "Hey, that's cool. I'll let this guy by."
Do you like that? That really helps, don't it?
I like that. Yeah, I like having a little bit of identification as far as who's behind you.
Yep.
Whether I know to either push it or hey, there's no reason to push it. Just let him by and follow him for a minute.
Yep. Yeah. Some people get confused on why we do that. It's really not for us as much. Only for the starting area is it for us, but the rest of it, like you just said, you explained it perfectly. It's whether I'm looking back or they're in front of me. It's whether I have to push it or can I let this guy by? Do I need to hold my own? So it makes it interesting. So, Well, Chris has been awful quiet here. Chris, do you got any questions on it?
I'm sleeping over here. So, Trent, you did the state fair, and I know this is all supposed to be all about round one, but you also did the riding school with Adam McGill.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and kind of what did you learn from it?
It was really good. He went over. He talked us through setups. Kind of talked. We went out in the woods and was showing how to carry speed over some off cambers and traversing roots. How to keep your traction down. Little mixed bag of everything.
Okay.
Was there one thing that you pulled away from that and used like the very next day out there racing the TT?
From the woods to the TT? No, I mean, I guess rider position. That was one thing he pointed out to me. He could eyeball, and my rider position naturally is a little bit too far back, and that's just, I guess I'm a bigger guy, and on a 450, I'm a little closed cockpit, so keeping me up on the front, I had a better feel. He caught me a couple times out in the woods and pointed that out to me that I ride too far back, and so that was great having somebody with another set of eyes that could spot that, and I would say that did play in like on the Iowa State Fair for the starts. And even for the greasy corners to stay up there on the front and keep that front traction in place, and then be able to transition back whenever once you can.
Mm-hmm. I heard a lot of people. I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because I heard a lot of people talking about at the fair, and then the very next race we had, which would have been Cahokia, right? Yeah, Cahokia reschedule. Yep. But we're talking about different stuff from the, I just hear them in a far, talking about the class and stuff they learned. And I remember one group I think it was youth, was talking about using the front brakes or something, getting around a corner, like going around a tree. You guys talk about that or something during the class?
Yeah, that was another topic he talked. Rear. How do you say it? Rear is to slow and front is for control. So I have put that into practice too. That's another point I forgot. I have put that to practice.
Yeah. Well, how cool was that? Forget about everything else.
Yeah.
How cool was it? Seeing Adam out there on the track doing what he did at the fair.
Oh yeah, that was rocking. That was really cool.
That was really cool. By the way, Chris, guess what? I guess I can make the announcement. Well, I was going to have Trace bring one. I'll have her bring one down. We just got the AMA number 1 plates from the Iowa State Fair. So we do have them. Yeah. We do have them ready to go. Let me see if she can bring one down. Yeah. So
we were talking earlier, Matt, the first full season. Last year you did one race. Was that Murray that you did?
Fort Dodge.
Fort Dodge. Okay. Closest one to you.
Mud race. Yeah.
So how was like working through the whole year, besides the issues that you were having with your vehicle? How was the series experience for, your first year with the Iowa family, so to speak? Everybody welcoming, kind of anybody invite you in, give you tips?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I feel like the experience we had was really good from people answering questions and just anything. Like so being on with Trent, what was it? After the second race, we ended up parking and camping next to Trent for the rest of the series for 6 out of the 7 races. Just happens to be one of the guys we got close with and buddied up with. So that was kind of cool. I know I'm just saying, when we raced in Wisconsin last year for 2 races, it was something about, I don't know what it was, but just the feel or the nature of the people or the race. And part of it might have been because they do bikes in the morning too, but we didn't get quite the same feeling with that series as we did in Iowa. I feel like it's kind of hard to explain, but I think maybe it's because they do bikes and quads. So there was, some bike guys parked next to quad guys, and then the bikes would leave, and then there was no one parked next to you. So it was a little weird. But we also never camped at those races. So maybe that was a part of it too. We were showing up the morning of, whereas in Iowa, we, showed up and camped at all of them. So
thank you.
I don't know. Enjoyed it, meeting people. Good.
Now, Trent, didn't you race with us last year?
Mm-hmm.
Andy's teasing us here, but didn't you race with us previously as well? Do I remember that right? With your kids,
long time ago. Okay. I raced back when you guys first started the series. Like I was mentioning with Brooks, that was the first year I ran a little bit with you guys way back then.
Are you being Vanna White here?
Number 1.
She's a little prettier.
Kevin Weedy, here's your number 1 plate that you definitely earned.
That is a nice plate.
They will be getting mailed out, but yeah, pretty cool. It's the only place AMA number 1 state championship, I think, has ever been given out in the state of Iowa. So pretty cool.
Man.
So no, never mind. I was going to ask you about the scoring, Matt, but let's bypass that.
Whoa. Well, we did do a little different at Trenton. Do you guys remember the chicane coming into scoring?
Yeah.
Do you think that was tight, or on the loose end?
I think it was kind of tight, wasn't it? I don't really remember it being a problem, but
it was tight. You had a little straight shot right before you got to it, so you were carrying a whole lot of speed, and you had to shut her down hard to make it. Especially if you were side. I remember one time I was side by side with somebody else, and it was first one to lift.
Nice. Yep. Andy made that tight.
I made it, and if you remember right, I drove through it, and then I backed through it.
I remember that. I think I was there when you were pounding in steaks. Yeah.
And then I got on it, and I took out how many steaks?
A lot.
I had to show you if it was too tight.
I think you have been better driving the Prius through there. So let me ask you this. We're obviously talking about just the first race for the most part, but so you guys raced all 7 races this year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
what was your favorite race and why?
You can go first, Trent.
Oh,
You think you know?
got it.
Well, there was a few tracks I liked. I would say for the most part, there was maybe only one that I didn't care for. I wouldn't say disliked, but I was gonna say my favorite was probably Cahokia. Specifically, I guess I don't know. I think it was just the flow and the terrain and the sand. I kind of liked the sand. It did get a little bit dusty, and I think the dust, unfortunately, is one thing that kind of just put a hinder from some of the tracks, like Murray and Weldon. I liked those tracks. I think I would have enjoyed them a lot more if it wasn't so dusty, but it is what it is. And then the Corridon was really good, but yeah, I think I'd put Cahokia at the top.
Curious, down at Corden, which side of the track did you like the better, the tight stuff or the open stuff?
That's a good question. I know the tight stuff was challenging, and I think it was probably the tight stuff that I enjoyed more. I don't know. I got through it pretty good. I don't think everyone did, but
yeah. I know Paul Cirk probably. I just want to repeat that Matt said that he liked the tight stuff better. I just want to make sure Paul Cirk heard that. So just a fun thing that we talk about from down there. So
on the tight side, though, weren't the tree branches a little short? They weren't cut high enough.
I know there was one spot specifically on the track that there was 3 visors sitting by each other, and I know I hit my head once too. I don't think it was in the same spot all those visors were at, but I remember the 3 visors that came around in the last lap, and I'm like, oh my God, there's another one.
Well, see, I think the problem we have there is I trimmed them out to where I didn't hit my head on it.
Yeah.
Give us a couple more inches next time, would you?
No, let's be honest, Andy. You had full stretched arms up.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe I need to stand on the four-wheeler next time when we trim it. So, all righty. So, Matt, Trent, what about you?
Trenton probably was my favorite. That I really dig that terrain and everything, that challenge. That was really a lot of fun. Corridon, yeah, was tight. The open sections on the other side of the property were awesome, just kind of flowy. Somebody put a surprise tree around a giant spruce. I hit it. I ended up found out I broke my collarbone after the fact, but Zach, Matt's buddy, ended up behind me and he scooped me up. I was laying in a ball on the ground and got out of the way for the race line. And then one of the A guys came through, and as soon as I got out of the way, another A guy hit the exact same tree again. And all you hear was a ah, and his four-wheeler goes flying and he goes rolling the other way. And that was fun. The tight section was interesting. It was definitely interesting. I had one of the A guys behind me just trying to rush me through it, and it's like, don't push me too hard, man, because I'll stop both of us.
Right? Yeah, wreck both of us.
Well, it's interesting because, like, you mentioned the flow of some of them tracks. Like Cahokia. I heard that a lot with Cahokia. I heard that a lot with Murray. Just a good flow to it. And it seems like some of the other ones that had probably more of a challenging, more elevation change, and stuff like that with cricks, it didn't maybe flow quite as good. But it's funny because there's certain ones, like my grandson, he went from C class last year to A class this year. And he had his share of issues, but places like Trenton, places like Weldon, Cahokia, he would just shine on, And it's interesting seeing how people are kind of drawn to maybe, I don't know, almost like the tougher terrain, that they do well. And then some of the trains where maybe you got to go slower to go faster, if that makes sense. On some of them faster places, people are just different on, and it's just interesting seeing you two just mentioned two completely different tracks, it's interesting. I just love hearing the different thoughts and the different, it tells us, what kind of tracks we need to be looking at, and like I said, if everybody likes the same track, we didn't do a very good job. They got to be different, so.
Yeah. And so like for me, and like I said, it was like, it's kind of tough to pick a favorite. I would say for whatever reason, and I can't specifically nail it down, but Greenhurst was probably my least favorite. And I really can't say why. I mean, it was pretty hot out that day, but I think it was just kind of like, there wasn't any one thing particular that I was like, oh, that was fun. It just, I don't know, it all just kind of blended in together, I guess. Something about it. There wasn't any like a hill or rocks or anything that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Did we go through the creek at Mount Pleasant?
What was that?
Did we go through the creek at Mount Pleasant this year?
We did not.
Okay.
No, we weren't sure on. Because they were calling for rain. Yeah. Yeah, we did the small, like, I forget what we call that, shit creek. It's down there where we go down. But the big creeks, you guys didn't get a chance to go through. I don't think you guys even would have went by it. But we have it's almost a river that we typically go through down there when we can. But it was a little over a foot deep, so we didn't go through it this time because we thought it was actually going to be going up, but it didn't. So. Gotcha. But yeah, that changes everything. Because when we do that, you cross it and then you come back across it. So your whole world changes because now everything that you're comfortable in, you're soaked. And that changes everything when you go for 2 hours, So, but.
So I remember at Corydon, I had to go mud bogging. I think it was where there was that creek crossing that was kind of lined with logs. If you remember that, there was two people stuck in there, and there was like 10 people hanging out waiting. And I was like, I'm on a 4x4. I'm just going to start looking. So I went up the creek a little bit, about 50 feet, and just sent it in the creek as fast as I could. And I don't know, it was about tire deep for me, and I just stayed on it. And I was like, oh my God, please don't get stuck. And I got through. So I got lucky on that one. But
felt sorry for the guy that tried to follow you, though.
Yeah, I remember there was a guy watching me, and I was kind of like, "Don't do it." They say he was on a sport quad.
Yeah, crazy. Well, since I got you guys on, is there anything else that happened throughout the year, maybe at another track, since we got you guys on this time, that really kind of made or broke your season, or maybe just something that you wanted to bring up?
Ooh. Trent, what happened at Cahokia for you? I'll ask.
I lost my transmission going up one of the long hills. Lost second gear, and she was chunking pretty bad, so I ended up pulling off. Made 2 laps. I made the last lap in first gear and was scared to shift it up through just in case. And yeah, that was fun.
Huh.
Then I tore her all down real quick and ordered everything up and got it all put back together for the next race. So that was a fun challenge.
So did either one of you guys need pulled in this year?
No.
Mm-mm.
Didn't.
But Zach did. At Corydon, he broke his frame. He broke his frame and got towed in. He snapped the shock tower clean off of his 400.
Oh shoot!
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And I think he was in the lead too, and he lost it. And he tried to drive like that. It was the front frame was only like 2 inches off the ground, and he said he went a couple 100 yards and just gave up.
Oh man!
He still got second though, even though he had to get towed off because him and the leader were the only 2 on that lap. So he got lucky.
I just saw this fun fact that both you and Zach won championships, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So Zach raced first year
Yep.
this year. Okay.
That's nice.
Interesting.
Huh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I was curious about if you got towed in, because that's one thing about the series we're very, very proud of is I know you guys would probably, like many others, would like the 10, 11, 12-mile courses, but I'm the one that pumps the brakes. Even my track workers would like the longer ones, but I always say if I've got, 7 guys to sweep the track, I don't want it over 7 miles. It's for us, for the safety part of it, knowing that we can kind of control it. When we've had tracks before, I'll remember up north, Wakan. Remember that one, Chris? That was like 12, 14-mile course, and it took us like 45 minutes to get around it, and it was so far out there. If we had something go wrong, it just we can't do it, so we're always looking for more track workers, but very, very proud of the ones that we got. And now we got those tiger tails that we come up to hook up to you, and it's just so quick. It takes us like 30 seconds to hook up and you're gone, and so I'm just curious if you guys had any experiences with that, but I'm glad you didn't. But if you did, I feel like we got some great ones out there doing that. So
no, kudos to the guys, because you definitely notice that on the track. Like, you might see somebody broke down and then the next lap they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
There's really not that many guys that you see, on the first lap broke down and they're out there on the 4th, 5th lap. So,
right. Yeah.
good. Yeah. Good deal. Cool. Well, what do you think, Chris?
Yeah. Had another question. It just escaped me.
Come on, you can do it.
I know. Oof. What classes are you guys going to return next year? And if so, what classes are you guys going to go for?
I do plan on returning. I don't think I'm going to be doing the whole series this time, mainly just because I want to save up some money and get a camper and get my boy racing is my plan. They say he's 5, and I got him to a couple MX races this year, and hopefully I'd like to try and get him in the woods next year. So try and lay low and put some money away.
Maybe the Iowa State Fair, bring him down for it.
I don't know. I'm not a big flat track guy. I don't know. Not really my thing. I raced MX as a kid, and I never touched woods, never did flat track. I was an MX guy, and I was to say I think I like woods racing more than I did like MX. So,
How about you, Trent?
yeah, I'll be back next year. I'm going to do the B class. I didn't hit my goal that I set for myself this year, so I'm going to try and hit that next year for sure.
4 points. So
You're probably going over in your head how many places I could have gained that 4 points.
Oh,
right?
I already did the math on the Cahokia and was like, man, had that not happened, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
it's the experience. I'll say that about the series we've talked about already, is just the family, the camaraderie. Like we've met Matt and Zach and kind of buddied up with them, and the Garrity's, and Ryan and Gage and Bogren and Gibblestein, those guys. It's B class has got a pretty good group of guys that we've all kind of met and hung out and keep in contact a little bit on Facebook and stuff. So
nice. Did either one of you guys get a meet Big Joe, my track worker?
I don't know.
I think I met him out on the track once.
He's the one that's probably most popularly known for our live Facebook lives at the track, the night before, a couple nights before. You remember Big Joe?
Yeah.
He had a famous video from Trenton too, where he's the one that was standing behind me in the camper that thought the video camera was going out, but he was actually on me, and he's in the back going like this and stuff. You guys remember that?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just curious if you'd met him. He's a character. So I feel sorry for his mom. She's got to put up with everything. So
I heard he got a new tattoo.
I did too. You know, we have a reward out for the first person that has a
No, speak for yourself.
series tattoo. A series tattoo has to have the logo on there. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm gonna throw this out there. The person that comes and shows me that they have a nice, nothing sarcastic, a nice tattoo, the very first person will be sponsored by me from now on. If they're living that tattoo, I'm going to take care of them. I want to see that tattoo. I won't get one. I'm not a tattoo guy, so I'm hoping Chris will man up and do it.
Nope.
Hey, Matt, did you I just seen something that just came across there.
I was gonna
tell you what.
flash it up here for him.
Yeah, this is a great example of the family.
Yeah. I say that's very generous of Travis. I say he has a 4-wheeler that he raced this year. I was reading into the rules a little bit about the limited and stuff, because like he has a 50, but I've already played around with it a little bit, so I was like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have him race limited then, because I've too much stuff. And it was kind of hilarious as he did 3 races this year, and I think 2 out of the 3 races when he got done, he was, he asked, what place did I get, and I said, oh, you got, I think there was a big race, the first one he did, there was 14 of them, and I think he got like 13th, and he's like, well, you should have bought me a faster 4-wheeler, and I was kind of like, okay. So yeah, we'll see. I think next year maybe it'll just be getting onto a different platform. So I gotta get in with some of the mini quad guys and learn about DRRs. That's a whole new world to me. I don't know that stuff.
How old is he?
He's 5. So yeah, he could have been racing this year, but it was my kind of first year with the Series 2 and not having a camper or anything really. I didn't want to drag the whole family down to sleep in a tent. So
well, I'll tell you what, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I think you'll be a happier parent with your kid racing if you don't let him start using those 3-letter words like DRR.
Yeah.
You will have much more time. Now you'll get to spend more time with him if you have him help you. But man, they're like the necessary evil. You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing faster if that's what you want to go, but boy, you got to spend the time on it.
Yeah.
It's like owning a Prius. You got to work on it all the time. So, hey, I just found. I'm not sure how legit this is, but this is what we're looking for. I don't know if you can see this.
Ooh.
That's Big Joe, and he's teasing me with a tattoo, but
looks legit.
I don't know about that. So that's pretty cool. Nice
Even
way
Mr.
to end this thing is having a there's Cirque.
Don't do a DRR, huh?
No,
You're not old enough yet, or he's not, but I'll tell you what, if you're a 5-year-old, I would get a 2006 or older 2-stroke Kimco if you want to run the stock class, and then go straight to the Honda 90, the young one.
Yeah, I like the Honda 90 platform. I feel like it's really versatile and it's been around forever.
Yeah, and Dad gets to change the oil once a year and maybe wash it once a year, and you got all this playtime in between. It's so nice. So, no, not trying to talk you out of anything, but sometimes one guy's experience can really save another guy. So,
yeah, and it's like I'm not looking to be racing for the mortgage by any means. It's like, yeah, I know there's a price tag that comes along with them, but yeah, I mean, as long as he's on something competitive for the class he's in, that's all I would worry about. He doesn't need to be the best or the brightest.
Yeah, I got you. Cool. Well, guys,
Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys coming on. I know that's one reason we try to give you as much advance as we can, so you're not finding out like the day of the podcast that you're coming on, We try to give you that week's notice or,
Sure
whatever.
I was gonna say, I was like,
But I appreciate you guys adjusting your evening plans and coming on. I think we talked about like 15 minutes, and then here Chris has kept you on for an hour. So, but
All right.
it's been fun. I appreciate you guys coming on. That's for sure. So,
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So
fun.
appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you guys. And Matt, I'm gonna tell you, if you don't make too many races next year, there's gonna be some stuff that we're working on right now that you will not want to miss. Okay. And it will be closer than Trenton for you. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I heard some rumors.
Yeah.
Little.
I just said closer. I'd say how much closer.
Yeah. I'll say even the last two weren't bad drives. I mean, that was just a little over 5 hours for us. So it's like, yeah, we could be done with the races on Saturday and be home by like before 11 o'clock. So it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Nice. Except you missed the potluck.
Yeah, that is true. We pondered the idea and it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, for sure. So, are you both going to be at the banquet?
Yes. Yep. Yeah,
What is the banquet, Andy?
I don't know if I am or not.
It's a lot of fun. So here's the thing. I've had some people this week ask me that needed some time off, and I spoke up a couple times and told them that I think it was either Monday or Tuesday that I thought I would have it done that day, but we ran into a stumbling block, Chris. So obviously we're trying to get it back in Honey Creek. It just fits everything. We're trying to get obviously the pool to be open later, but having the hotel with everybody gets a little tipsy, it seems like, and it's so important to have that hotel there, to be safe and everything. But a lot of fun, the water park, everything. But so I kept trying to make phone calls to get everything sewn up. I just had a couple things to make sure they could do for us this year, I guess, and wasn't getting any phone calls back. And I'll be honest, that was Monday because I was kind of irritated. It's Flag Day, and I thought, well, maybe they're closed. Wasn't getting no returns, no answer to the phone call or nothing. So Tuesday, I finally get a hold of them, only to find out that the gal that my wife's been working with Thursday was her last day. I think that was her only day was this week. She went on maternity leave. So she won't even be there when we have our banquet. So we were leaving messages for her. So they've got us with the right person now that's going to be taking it over. So I'm praying that we will have everything solidified next week, but I feel comfortable telling you that it will be January 31st. So.
Okay.
And that's, Chris, you've been there several times, obviously, but it's like a perfect fit, I think, because obviously we can have weather related, but it's really nice because you're kind of gone away from the race family and friends, for 2 or 3 months, but then it's like smack dab in the middle of the winter. And then it seems like the rest of the winter goes quick because you've kind of gotten together and you've had the fun and stuff, so yeah, it should be pretty good, but maybe between now and then, Trent, you'll change your mind, come have fun.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, well, hey, I told my wife we'd be done in an hour, and she knows, I'm sure right now, that Chris is keeping us a little longer, but I don't have anything else. I just want to thank you all for coming on and being a part of this. It's fun to hear the different stories behind the scenes and stuff that you guys went through and done and your perspective on things. So I really appreciate it. And even Chris being on here, it's been kind of nice.
Now you're sucking up. So, yeah, thanks, guys.
Yep.
It's been a good
Thanks, Ryan.
podcast.
Yeah.
Good.
So-
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
See ya.
See you.
As